Welcome to Students of Aging, the podcast that honors the incredible journeys and stories of seniors growing older. Tune in and become a part of our community as we redefine what it means to age gracefully and purposefully.
I mean, we have fun. We've had a lot of fun together. Hi, welcome to Students of Aging podcast. My name is Mavis McKinnley, and I'm a member of Wood Green Senior Advisor Council, the people that came up with all the podcasts you are listening to this season. This is a program funded by the federal government. My friend Joanne has been visually and mobily impaired for 25 years and has great advice to offer us. I have been fortunate to travel several times with Joanne, and this has been quite an experience. I'd like you to meet Joanne.
Hello. Yes, I've been traveling for 25 years with a disability, and I've picked up a few tips along the way to make it a bit easier. First of all, when booking, we let everybody know that we have a disability and what our needs are. They send you airlines, trains, cruise ship, special forms in order to fill out so they know exactly what you need when you get there. You also, when you do arrive at the different areas, inform them again in case the information hasn't come through. And this is how I've made it a little bit seamless. We've both had different stories along the way that sometimes things happen, like the person with security that wanted me to look at the camera, that I didn't know where the camera was, and they were yelling at me about that. And Mavis, you have stories about traveling as well.
Well, we were going into the dining room, and the waiter was guiding us, and he knew that Joanne couldn't see properly, and he was miles ahead of us, waving for her to come. She couldn't see him, but they don't realize.
But then what I did afterwards is I just said, could I please speak to the maitre d' and explain what had happened? And so after that night, we had wonderful service. They just need to know what your needs are. And especially when you're pre-boarded onto a plane, you get to go on, and most of the time a flight attendant will come over, in my case, and tell me where the washrooms and the exit doors are. So in case of emergency, I will know where to go, so that we know when we get there, we're not trying to figure it out. Especially with my sight, I couldn't do that.
I never thought of that, and I could see, but what a game changer that is.
Yes. There's many things that people with disabilities, and they'll say they haven't had a good experience. But if you just keep telling people, be nice about it, but just explain what your needs are. And most companies are more than willing to help you along the way.
They're certainly happy to have you as a customer. Joanne and I have a little joke. I have hearing aids and have difficulty hearing. She can't see. So we say, hear no evil, see no evil. We have fun.
I use my walker. And this is a godsend to me with the walker, because I can feel that, like, I have no depth perception. So I used to use a white cane, but when I've hurt my back and my mobility has been challenged, the walker, at least I can feel the ground, and when I walk, it's like walking into nowhere. I can't see the ground in front of me. So this is what makes it easy to travel.
Why did you go from your white cane to your walker? Was there any specific reason?
Yes, I had re-injured my back, and the white cane would not give me the support. And so the walker gives me the support, and I can feel the ground under me with the walker, where I don't have any depth perception. And you just don't, now I don't use the white cane very seldom at all. I just don't feel as confident with the white cane. So this is how I had to switch at this point.
Actually, she manages so well. You know, she
Thank you.
manages a lot better than a lot of my people who see everything. I had a mini stroke a few years back, and after that stroke, I was dizzy for months, and my doctor suggested I get a walker. So that's why I was using it. So it was more of a something to count on, you know. And this must have happened about maybe 5 years ago, I think. And as the years have gone by, I have lost some weight. My blood pressure's gone normal. Everything has been better. So I find my mobility is better. I haven't been using my walker. I haven't been using my cane. And I feel great. The last trip we were on, we were in a taxi coming home, and Joanne gave me $40 on her share of the cab, and I had 40. But unknown to her, other money, $100 bill and God knows what else, fell out of her thing. So now I'm going to make a habit taking my phone with the flashlight and checking when we leave, just as a precaution.
Yeah, because I don't see things like that.
And I mean, you don't know when you take it out, you know, if something else fell out.
And I have trouble with, although if I could do Braille, there's Braille on our money. But I can't, I was not a good candidate for Braille. So I'll have to say I very seldom use cash. So when I have it, I'll say to Mavis, is that a 20? Is that a 10? Whatever it is, you know. So
it's good because we kind of help each other. Like I don't hear. And like we were in one of the concerts, and like
it was very visual.
And like I don't want to push myself on Joanne, and I don't know how much I should, but I said to her, do you mind if I tell you what's going on? They're on a trampoline right now.
Yeah, she explained me. I couldn't hear the music, but I couldn't see what was happening. So she was sort of letting me know what was happening on the stage, so I had a better understanding.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we help each other. Like I don't hear half the time what's going on.
And I'll
So
say they
thank God
just said.
but we have fun, you know, and it's been a great experience, and my children are so happy that I'm doing things, you know. I'm getting out. I'm going to the Legion on Saturday nights with Joanne, and you know, getting up and dancing. Joanne can't dance, but she enjoys the music, and we have friends there. You know, it's a different life.
2 years ago, I lost my gorgeous little dog, my Chinese Crystal, and my son immediately called our travel agent and said, my mom needs to go on a cruise. So he flew me first class to Florida and put me in a balcony suite on this MSC cruise ship. Well, it's the most beautiful cruise ship, and the people were wonderful. They called me every day to my cabin to explain, you know, did I need anything else? What else could they do for me to make it easier for me? What they did do is at dinner time, they would read the menu to me because I wouldn't be able to do that. Well, this was great because then the waiters knew exactly what was the best meal and would suggest it to me. So it was a good thing that happened. But it was so easy from the time they made the arrangements. They booked the flight with the wheelchair. They had a GoPort, picked me up at the airport, took me to the hotel, took me to the ship, brought me back, and on the ship, everyone was just amazing. It was a wonderful time. Everyone on the ship talks to you, from the cleaners to the officers, and if you ask anybody any directions, they'd be more than willing. And I had my white cane at the time, so people would always talk to this blind lady, and it was just a terrific experience. I had a wonderful time, and I've been on 4 MSC cruises since. I love this cruise line.
And the last one we were on, actually the last two, she's always running into a waiter or someone from a previous
Cruise
ship. They remember her.
Well, because the white cane or the disability, you sort of stand out a bit, and they'll come up to you and say, "Hi, how are you doing?" And that's nice too. You feel like you're part of the family.
I think what happens is a lot of these people, they go from one ship to another in the same cruise line. That's why, like, she keeps running into her old friends. To what parts of the world have you traveled so far?
I've traveled I've been through Europe. I've been everywhere in the Caribbean. I've been all through the U.S., all through Canada. I've been fortunate to really travel. But in the last 25 years, I've done it with a disability, and my needs have changed. So many people won't speak up and won't want to call attention to themselves, but you're helping yourself by telling the people, and you have a much better time of it. People are generally nice, and this usually works out to your benefit. Well, I find cruising the most enjoyable because what I do is I watch YouTube videos on ship tours, so I learn all about the ship beforehand, so I know where the restaurants are, where the theater is, where the handicap sections are, and where the different pools and everything are. And then I go on the ship, and I'm not just searching wildly for things. And I love cruises because once you learn the layout of the ship, it's a fairly safe environment to be on. Mm-hmm. And the staff are wonderful. If I'm walking in the wrong direction, they'll tell me, and I just have a wonderful time.
What has been the biggest challenge, and what has helped most during your travels?
The biggest challenge, I would say, is transportation through the airports and getting to the planes because some of the airports are just so big.
This is going to be an arrival into Orlando.
In Orlando, that airport is crazy. And in order to get to where you get a wheelchair, you have to walk about 1.5 miles. And I found that very difficult to do. Once you get the wheelchair, it's fine, but it's getting to the point where you can pick up the wheelchair that's someone with a mobility problem, and there's no one in the airport to help you. This was a big lesson I learned, that I'm never going to Orlando Airport again. I'll go to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, but not Orlando. If you're young and going to Disney World, it's great, but no.
When we were at the Orlando airport, the guy was pushing her wheelchair and another one, and he was going so fast. I had to run to catch up to him. And, pushing her walker and suitcase, which was falling off every time we went uphill and downhill. That was the worst challenge. I never thought I would have a bucket list of places to visit, but I have one now. Where do you plan to go next?
Well, I still plan to just do my Caribbean cruises. I'm fortunate enough to have an insurance plan that has 8 days that know pre-existing conditions. But as you get older, it's very difficult. And once you're past 75, it's very expensive to get insurance. So you have to really take this into consideration.
You know what? I can't go swimming. I can't walk, in the ocean anymore, because you go down that where the waves, I've fallen don't many times. So to me, the cruises are really the best bang for the buck. Everyone takes pictures on their phone these days to look at and share when they get home. How do you record the memories of your trip?
Mavis takes the pictures.
and I send them by email to her so that she can
load them up on my computer.
Well, this is a distant picture of our ship. This was taken from the private island when we were at, what's the name of it?
Ocean Cay.
Ocean Cay. This is our first drink.
on our first cruise
Our
together.
first cruise and our first drink together. And we were very happy. And you're going to laugh, but Joanne and I went on this cruise, and we were having dinner with this couple, and we're from Toronto, and where were they from? Oakville. And this was another couple that we met. I think they were from the States somewhere.
Yes, yes.
But you know, you meet lovely, lovely people. I went to Aruba for my 70th birthday all alone. And, you know, and anyway, I go to this restaurant and for my birthday, and I'm all alone and then go. And then there was this Italian family, and there were 10 of them. So they invited me there. I had the best birthday ever. It was fantastic. But and I met another couple. They were from Toronto also, and they kind of sort of hung around with me. You meet people when you're alone. You tend to meet people, and I think you just talk to people. Like Joanne and I talk to everybody we meet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like on this week, we're going to Windsor on the train. And with my CNIB pass, I get 2 for 1. Mavis is able to come with me, and we just split the fare then. So we have a wonderful couple of days away. And they know that I'm disabled. They send a person to take us to the train, and also to put the walker up. I filled out the forms so they know what my needs are. And even on the train, the person that's in charge of that car will watch and make sure I get to the washroom okay and back. There's all this help available for people that if they have a disability to be able to go and enjoy themselves.
Except I'm the one that fell on the last trip.
Yeah, because there was a Dallas Cowboy football player beside us, and he was who was one who rescued her.
I was on my way to the washroom, and after Aldershot, they went really, really fast. And, you know, and it was so, and I had just had carpal tunnel surgery, and I was kind of hanging on to the chairs as I was going, and down I went. And Joanne, you know, who can't see me, I think I see white pants on the floor.
She had white pants on, and I was looking, I thought, I think there's white pants. And so I said to the football player, I think my friend fell. He jumped up and ran, and
they just picked me up. We have fun. We have fun, you know. We've had a lot of fun together. And this has been great for me. And like I said earlier, my children are so happy that I'm now enjoying my senior years.
Yeah. And so is my son. He's away 6 months of the year, so he's happy that I'm able to go out and have someone to travel with and have great experiences together and that. So.
My children have both met Joanne, and I've linked up on WhatsApp with Joanne's son and his partner, so that, you know, at least they know who we are, and if there's ever a problem, at least he'll accept my call. You know, I wanted my children to meet Joanne so that they would know who I was traveling with, and like my daughter is my emergency contact, and Joanne, I don't know if I've given you my daughter's phone number.
No, you haven't yet.
Anyway, but I have her sons and his partners, so, and we've already made contact. So, you know, because you don't know, something could happen. I mean,
yeah, especially because my son leaves in the 1st of December and isn't back until May, that he's in the Caribbean. So in case of an emergency, Mavis can call him and let him get in touch with him, or my cleaning lady who has a key and knows where all the important papers are. And this is a wonderful thing to have this connection. And our children really appreciate that there's somebody else looking out for them.
I'm a retired nurse, so it's kind of nice, you know, that, like, I don't know if your son realizes that, but it's kind of nice to, you know, I'm maybe more aware than some other people
People
are.
are, yeah.
Anyway, we have fun. That's the main thing. Well, new sounds and smells. I don't hear it. She doesn't.
And I
smell.
have no sight. When the stroke that took my sight, then one sight, I lost my sense of smell. I don't have too many senses left. I mean, a sense of humor is the only thing I have.
You know what? I'm telling you, Joanne is a lifesaver because I miss so much of what's being said.
Well, because not having my vision, I really have good hearing, and I really, like, you get trained through your training through CNIB as to how to really be aware. Like, I've taken more people with sight out of casinos because they have no idea where to go. I know how many rights and left it is to get to the exit, where they have their eyes and they just don't pay attention to these things. And so this is where this is what I do on the cruise ship. And Mavis relies on me to pay attention to where the floor we're going.
On vacation, one meets many new people from all over the place. After asking where they're from and telling them in which part of Canada you live, do you break the ice and let them know that you are blind?
I play it. It all depends what type of relationship and what we're talking to. I don't like playing the blind card right up front and that. But if it makes them feel more comfortable, then I'll let them know that, yes, I am visually impaired, because I don't use the white cane anymore. I use the walker. But on my walker, it does say visually impaired. So, but people sometimes don't even notice this. So it's an individual thing. It's having the confidence and to be able to speak up and say what your needs are. I think that's the real underlying secret of traveling and having a good time.
Do you like to have any excursions on your trips?
I really I'm very limited in what excursions I can go, because with my problem, sightseeing is out for me. Now, when I went on the cruise to, actually it was to the Bahamas, but there was a hurricane and we were sent to Mexico. And I was by myself and we went to Cozumel, Mexico. And I thought, oh, great, I love shopping in Cozumel, Mexico. So I'll get off the ship. Well, there was 5 other ships that were sent to Cozumel, Mexico that day. And so I walk out and there's 25,000 people in Cozumel, Mexico from these ships. Well, I lasted about 10 minutes and decided that wasn't the trip for me. So I turned around and went back on the ship.
It's very hard because there's so many cruise ships, you know, to get back onto, and you have to find the right place, and it's a little
Overwhelming at times.
My daughter and her husband were living in Australia, and they wanted me to come for a visit, so they flew me business class to Australia. I went from Toronto to Frankfurt, and then I went to Switzerland, and from there to Bangkok, from there to Perth. And it was fantastic. And while in Australia, I met the neighbor of my daughter, who offered me their house down in Margaret River. It was a cottage that I could go down and stay at. And this place, this is wine country. So I went on 2 different wine tours. I went on one and I had alligator, and I had alligator and kangaroo, and different salads that they, you know, it was beautiful. And I met this woman on the train going down there, and she came the next day with her daughter, picked me up, took me all around the area, and we went to this farm, and the kangaroos came out around 5 o'clock at night, and here's all these kangaroos hopping around by our car. It was amazing, you know. I've had some great trips. I'm very lucky my kids have moved to a lot of different places. I went out to visit my son in Victoria, and I went whale watching, and the whales were right up beside our boat, you know. Like, I have a girlfriend who lives in Missouri, And this is a girlfriend that I met in grade 3, 4 in school. We've kept in touch over the years, okay? And for my retirement, my kids, made a collection, and they wanted to send me. I always wanted to go to Grand Ole Opry. I like country music. So anyway, I went down to Nashville. My girlfriend picked me up, took me to her house, and we went to the Grand Ole Opry. We also went to Graceland. And I have to laugh. Here we are in the parking lot at Graceland. There's this little motorcycle with the Quebec license plate on it. I almost died with the little trailer thing behind. I couldn't believe it, I've had a lot of experience. It's been fun.
Like Mavis and I have known each other for about 8 years. And in the last couple of years, we've got closer. And she likes cruising, and she knows I love cruising. So I had gone on this cruise after I lost Crystal, and I was talking about another one that I was interested in. And she said, "Do you mind if I come along?" And I said, "No, great," and we've been going and traveling ever since.
We get along well together.
As we got to know each other, we realized we like the same books. We like the same TV shows. There's so much that we're so in tune with in that.
And we're both easygoing people. I mean, I'm not hard to get along with, and neither is Joanne. And I've been with people, and they don't like this and they don't like that. And it takes away the fun, from the trip,
When you're happy and enjoying yourself, it draws other people to you, and that makes a big difference.
I'd like to thank you, Joanne, for joining us today.
You're welcome. I really enjoyed giving my 2 cents worth and maybe helping somebody along the way.
And I'm sure hoping that people have been able to get some advice or some help with this podcast. Thank you. I will continue traveling with my family and with my partner, Joanne, here.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing content every week. If you want to catch more of our adventures, check out the videos right here on our YouTube channel. And remember to leave a comment below. Let us know what you think or what you'd like to see next. We love hearing from you. Catch you in the next one.
On the next chapter.
I imagine a lot of your viewers share the collecting passion in something. Our generation, I don't know anybody that didn't collect something at some point. And, you start with stamps or coins or whatever.